This is The Public Eye. I'm Ronnie Thwaites, and with me, our venerable co-host, the Honorable Pearnel Charles Sr. Thanks for joining us. This is a station which reaches out to the Jamaican diaspora everywhere, anyway. You mean people who really just check for this country, who know us, who are from us, and have an unforgettable memory and experience, a hope and a trust. Can I use a big word? A covenant with this country. Thanks very much to the people who sponsor the bridge, to those who support this program. We talk it straight about the Jamaican nation. We come from different points of view, but that doesn't prevent us from agreeing on the essentials, looking at the news of the week, bringing you up to date. Check us on the bridge 99.13579 on the FM dial. In a few minutes, we'll be connecting with Irwine Clare on our sister station, Irie Jam Radio in New York, for the Global Connection Hour. And remember, you can watch our live stream at www.thebridge99fm, wherever you are in the world. And follow us on Instagram at thebridge99fm. Or, better still, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bridge99FM. You can watch previous episodes of the show too, my goodness. That'll be frightening, eh? And you can keep up with us by downloading the Bridge99FM in the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. The numbers, you can connect us. We'd be happy to hear from you, 876-676-4996 or 888-546-8742 from the tri-state area. In the Global Connection today, we're joined by Dr. Leachim Semaj, noted psychologist. There's been some rumbling on social media about the fact that the revered Tibetan leader Dalai Lama seems to have a homosexual tendency. What does that mean? Why don't people who are of great renown, are they called to account for their excesses like everybody else? Dr. Semaj, and wider issue about sexual differentiation in Jamaica, all up for discussion. And later on, many of the items from the news of the day will be our grist, our mill. Mr. Charles, greetings.
Greetings. And I have two quiz for you.
You do?
One is, tell me two of the greatest, either greater or whatever you want to call it, social change that you have experienced or seen over the last 4 or 5 years, 4 or 5 years? Yes.
Oh, you limit me with time.
Well, you can even make it shorter, 2 3 years. Well, let's go.
The greatest, the social change.
Cell phone,
okay, technology.
Have you really examined what a cell phone is and how many millions of people, probably billion, right?
Yeah.
Have a cell phone and making connection continuously, family, friends, business, pleasure.
Okay, but you and I counter each other. Plenty of negative things come out of.
Oh yes, yes. Well, let's go a little further.
Yeah.
Here, women all around the world, even Africa, Europe, Jamaica, women have changed their hair to long hair.
Yeah.
It went first to the afro.
Yes.
And then to the shortcut. And everybody's in this plaiting or...
What do you think about that?
I have no problem with it.
Well, it's beautiful, but I like natural things,
Yes, but why isn't that natural?
Because you have to add some piece of donkey hair or other people's extension in order to get the plait.
But then a lady just said to me when I said that to her, she said, why are you wearing clothes?
No, clothes is different. Clothes.
Why is it different?
No.
You add clothes to your body.
Adornment is different from embellishment.
Oh, no, you see, you're a big word, man, So the man up radio said, Mr. Charles, what do you mean by that?
Okay.
Yeah, but I understand the point you're making, right?
Yeah. There are levels of extreme in each situation.
Yeah, but why it came to me, I saw a white lady on television yesterday with this same black
locks. Yeah.
And she looks
Extension.
very good.
No, I don't doubt that. And
I don't know why you would want to prevent her from having...
I just prefer...
But that's not a black woman...
No, I just prefer natural things, things that don't come off at bedtime or when you go to the hairdresser's parlor. And I mean, this is very personal, but I love to play in a woman's hair, and I want to play in something natural, not something false.
I think I'm going to get you in trouble. So therefore, let's get on with it.
Go ahead. You're going to tell me you have the same the same addiction. On that we can agree. Yes. And we join our friend Irwine Clare at Irie Jam for the Global Connection. Irwine, what's your preference?
No, can we qualify that we're on the same platform here?
We are on the same platform, and a little rudeness from old people is very, very appropriate. Is he there? Irwine, are you hearing us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we've got a marvelous echo in your voice. I hope that we can deal with it here. Well, I'm concerned. The problems of the day, you listen to the news, the world news, gentlemen, and we're faced with the sadness of war and discontent and human need in so many places. The billions of people who are without adequate resources, the children who die every 60 seconds, we're told, from preventable disease, helpless, and so on. And yet in the United States, you are consuming your power and your wealth with against each other and about to assassinate each other, at least spiritually and socially. Whereas in Jamaica, we're about to take out our frustrations on something called Carnival, where we abandon every restraint and just Lego ourselves. Surely intelligence, resources, recreation, all of these things should make us do good for others rather than end or compromise our well-being and that of others. What do you think, Mr. Clare?
Let us say.
Yes, Pearnel.
My mother would say, one thing that you have just outlined locally and foreign, she would say, God soon come in country, in world.
Yes.
Follow me?
Yeah.
But to get to our type of realism, the truth is that things have changed and continue to change. And if you can't follow it, you have a problem.
No, but things don't always change for the good.
Why?
And so you watch it.
Do you mean you don't look at the good? Look at technology.
Yeah.
Technology has changed the world.
Undoubtedly.
And to a point you can hardly quantify it. I mean, we're speaking now to people in Australia.
Yes.
And it used to take 3 and 4 weeks.
No, can you imagine?
In America, one letter.
Yes,
we even stop right letter.
Well, indeed.
With a special button.
No, I'm accepting all of that, but I'm saying that there's a deeper reality that we have to look at. I'm very distressed that the United States, which is apogee of freedom, the home of the brave, all of these things. When I turn on U.S. News, Irwine Clare, I'm hearing polarized distress, and I can see the Chinese and the Russians and the BRICS laughing at the United States because you can't make up your mind to live together.
But Benny, because you were listening to one type of voice in the Americas.
No.
I was listening to those people in Mississippi. I was listening to the black people in Harlem.
Yes, sir.
I was listening to those who couldn't go to any school.
Yes.
And so, in other words, it's not an immediate thing.
Yes, Irwine, what do you think?
It is a challenge. And I hope you guys are hearing me.
Hearing you well.
Hearing you well now.
Okay. There's a slight echo from my side, however, so I think we have to work in it from here. But it is distressing. Because when you see that the enemy is within, because when you even consider even these recent espionage notes that went out, the secrets or spying, whatever that went out, I'm one of those who strongly believe that it's coming from right here in our house.
But
because of the vitriol that exists between the warring parties here, the political parties. Because for the first time in my lifetime, gentlemen, I've always been told that if it's one thing the United States agrees on, it's always its foreign policy. And we don't see that happening today. We see contravening opinions that are being shared in the public for the consummation of those internationally, and it does not bode well.
Hey.
So yes, lots of people are just, I don't know, comatose. I don't know.
And it's all because of the challenge for what local politics can produce.
Well,
it's all of the challenge. What I want it in local politics. Whether I want to be president, or keep somebody out of the presidency, or
Yes.
So what? I love the job so much.
But I don't know if it's even love the job so much. But the point is this: is that even if you say you love the job so much, at some point country comes first. It doesn't seem to be country first here at all.
No.
It's just to tear down.
Yes.
And in so doing, it causes a lot of angst amongst our population.
And we have a comparable situation here. Where Pearnel and I agree, he a Rockstone Labourite, I a Socialist PNP, agree that it is the existing political system that is keeping back the people of this country. How can we be complacent with that?
I know, but you see, you both agree. And that's a salient point. Then why is it then that those with the responsibility to move the nation ahead can't see the validity in that and the realness in that and the opportunity?
Well, let me hit you and Ronnie, because Ronnie and myself are not the only two agree. There are people in the political system who think like us. However, when you go beyond that, it removes something from them that called power, or prevent them to get something that called power. Now, this power is what you and I talk about. How can we either share it, get rid of it? We can't get rid of it. We won't share it because it's a one have to have it while the other don't.
But I don't accept that anymore.
It's a long time. Yes. You and I don't accept that.
Right,
but let's go beyond you and I and look at the population.
So the population
at our level, even down at the bar.
Yes, but that doesn't mean it can't change. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have to change, and people can be brought to understand and can themselves determine that this system is getting there nowhere. Look at what we face, Irwine Pearnel. At the beginning of this administration in Jamaica, we had this remarkable hope that that we were going to have 5% growth in 4 years, sustainable. You had this very impressive growth council set up, yes, and we met with them, all kind of things. That is a total flop. Yesterday, the IMF, yes, told us that our growth forecast is likely to be less than what it was expected to have been or projected to have been 3-4 months ago. And when you look at the pattern of the projection of growth for the next few years, we are back to the 1%, 2% growth.
Where is it that it is better?
No, that's not the point.
Yeah, but no, I am saying
it's better.
Where is it in the world that it is better, and whether or not it is we here who cause it not to be good?
No. But there is an interplay of both. There are external factors. We don't control the price of fuel. No, but what we do control is the capacity to invest in solar power and to move towards alternate energy, which we're doing very, very weakly.
Yeah, but did you listen to the presentation of the Minister of Finance to the IMF yesterday?
No. Yes. I did not hear that.
But you read it, right?
Yeah.
And he said we're above all of them.
So what?
Including America.
No. Look, if you tell me that I am less, me who is Miras maker 2 days ago, that I am better off than the people in Yemen or in Ethiopia, what the hell is that comfort of that?
Benny, you see again.
But gentlemen,
you have to understand. You have that.
No, I'm making
you have that religious flavor in you.
No.
Hold on. No.
Irwine, save us.
Listen. You say. I'm not gonna let the religious argument come in here now, because that seemed to be the escape hatchet. But
well, you just hit it.
I know. The point here, though, is that a couple months ago, or less than a couple months ago, there was this glorification that Jamaica's economic position was, I would say, almost rosy. There were accolades coming in supposedly from international entities that were doing well. We hear that being echoed by the minister. The question, however, though, is when we look at the largesse of the people, I don't know if it has, to use a Republican term, trickled down. But there are still several. Well, no, I'm a bird's eye looking at. Yes, I'm very clear.
It's trickling, but it's not coming down fast enough.
All right, stop in some place and divert it to another place.
The point here, inequality is increasing, not decreasing.
Indeed. So there are some things that I think we can all agree on, that there's a serious corruption issue, that it takes our leaders' decision on this to move on this in a positive way. You guys just spoke about the opportunities that you both can agree, and there are persons within the factions who can agree. Why can't we promote those entities and get them to the forefront? Because obviously there's a wider swath of persons there with other aspects in their life that one would say enjoys the status quo. The status quo is keeping us back. Why can't we have those persons or functionaries, as you gentlemen just say, agree on the way forward? Why can't we get something moving there? Because I think the man at the bar wants to see that happening. I don't believe that the man at the bar is also at that level where they're having these kind of factions. I think that's in the minority.
Well, let me put a serious question now. If you ask me if I wanted political power at this stage,
anyway, in the States?
No, here.
Here, yeah.
I would have to ask myself the question, power for what?
Okay.
Because having experienced it, I see the gross limitations of exercising political power. Not that it's irrelevant, not that it's useless, but it is far less than it ought to be for the welfare of the people.
Indeed.
People are asking the question, what is in the future in this country for me? What is it? What can I expect? Yes?
Randy, I would have a problem answering you if I put your former constituency that I know well.
But then that is my reference point, sir.
But
similarly for yours, but we have to take a break, don't we?
Indeed.
When we come back, Dr. Leachim Semaj joins us. Dr. Leachim Semaj, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Present.
Greetings to you, Dr. Leachim Semaj, noted public commentator, psychologist, and many other things. The Honorable Pearnel Charles is a co-host in Kingston, and Irwine Clare is anchoring Irie Jam in New York. Leachim.
Teacher, professor.
That is who? Is that me?
No, that's Leachim.
No. That's for Leachim.
That's for Leachim. Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Leachim Semaj, the Dalai Lama is a well-known international figure, exile leader of Tibet, and a Buddhist of long standing. Apparently recently he has been caught or seen kissing a little boy, and he has apologized for it. And our producers are asking, how come he gets away with an apology? Isn't that a reprehensible act which should be punished in a different way? How do you relate that the same questions to life, say, in Jamaica or elsewhere? What are your thoughts?
There's a history, where there's a popularity, what should I call it now? Just as there's a looks penalty, there's a popularity credit. The leaders who are well liked or loved or revered oftentimes are allowed certain almost privileges. It's alleged that JFK had some behaviors that we would not call paragon of virtue.
John F. Kennedy. prominent Catholic, revered man all over the world, but he was a womanizer of all kinds of pedigree, wasn't he?
Again, allegations, and people have made all kinds of statements.
More that.
Michael Manley, there's allegations regarding his preferences and activities, but oftentimes the media is in collusion and helps to cover up certain kinds of behavior. So there's a history where certain people are given a pass. But especially now in the present era, we're a little more circumspect, and we raise these questions and listen, should we keep giving people passes? Are the behaviors the same, whether it's the same law for the Medes as the Persians? No man is above the law. I mean, I'm a firm believer in this thing called the rule of law. No one is above the law. So I think a level of consciousness has been raised in our societies, where in the past, when we would give people passes, we would excuse, we would rationalize, we would cover up. Many times, the media itself was a part of the collusion. So we're in a different time.
There's a problem not only with that, gentlemen. We have a constitutional committee in Jamaica that it is said that one member has a problem and shouldn't be there. But
because of his views.
Because of his what?
Views.
No,
yes,
he's there because of his ability, constitutional wise.
Right.
But they feel that because it is said, and I don't want to go into, for fear that I tread on dangerous ground, that his socialization is unacceptable. So he is one of 14. So I don't see how that could cause a problem. However, isn't that the same thing about the Dalai Lama we're talking?
A bit different, but I understand where you're going. I think we want to accept the principle. Let's accept what Leachim is saying, that the principle is a rule of law, and there should be equality under the law, correct?
Yes.
But that is I can tell you from 52 years now of law practice in Jamaica, that doesn't exist, friend.
Well, say it don't exist totally. Some of it exists.
Yes.
Some people enjoy that.
In form, but not.
And some don't get a chance to enjoy
exactly,
it.
sir.
Yeah. But let me ask you this, Doc Leachim, going back to the whole situation as the decision to give a pass, you look at the moral character of the community, the civil society today, which is under pressure itself, and doing some things that many of us would consider immoral when you see what's taking place in the world today. Don't you think that somehow that even those who would sit in judgment themselves have challenges themselves? When we look at what's happening.
Who are you talking about? Clarence Thomas?
That too. That too. Yes.
Well, again, you see, if we are to... society is evolved. There are times when we say certain things and we do certain things. And put it this way, as we say evolve, not all the evolution is in the manner that we're all comfortable with.
Yes.
You can see the United States struggling now. Some are struggling to go backwards, some are struggling to go forward. But believe me, I still believe in the concept of the United States of America. I do believe they'll pull it off eventually.
Well,
can I ask you a question? I'm going to ask you this. Are we, and this is according to your profession, are we at a stage where there's an international change, something changing worldwide, whether it's in Africa, Europe, United States? It is a period of social or some change?
Obviously.
You're evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on.
Not all. I wouldn't call all. It's not a neutral concept evolving. There's certain Western behavioral preferences.
Okay.
That the objective is to impose it on the rest of the world.
Yes.
And to hold you tied to aid, tied to assistance, and all of that.
Well,
so
let's
we have to be very careful.
Let's be specific. The Irwine's audience in New York and across the United States would accept more than toleration, but equality, non-discrimination of people of who are homosexuals, lesbian, LBGQ, etc. Yes, in Jamaica that is simply not so. And to seek to impose is going to cause serious problems. And to go to this gentleman that Pearnel mentioned, what's his name, Albert, on the Constitutional Committee, I strongly object to his presence.
Why?
I'll tell you why.
Yes.
A person who does not live in Jamaica,
yes,
and does not understand and is immersed in the Jamaican experience has no business telling us how to write a constitution.
But they say that his ability, his constitution.
Yes. But prior to that, I really am seeking Leachim and Irwine's views on this. My view is that getting a committee of experts to tell us how to fix the constitution is the wrong way up. What you do is first go to the people and get their views as to where the constitution that we have needs to be upgraded, changed, etc. And then you call in the experts to do things like the drafting, etc. But to give these people who are there, with all respect to them, and I respect some of them, not all, yes, and I have good reason to say it that way, to give them the task of writing something and then coming and saying to us, that is wrong, upside down. What do you think, Dr. Semaj?
Ronnie, let me hit you with this one.
Hit me.
How many of us are in a position to help write a constitution?
No, we don't.
How many of the population of the 3 million of us?
We can't.
Not only intellectually, but having a legal right.
That's not what I'm saying, Pearnel. Not to write it, but as far as the principles of the covenant that we want to live with each other, yes, we can be very clear, and the questions can be put to people, but not as an afterthought or as some kind of optional extra. That has to be the central questions, central modus of which we do this. Leachim, you're the guest. Give us.
I'm agreeing with you on that, Ronnie, because look, laws in Jamaica in general.
Yeah.
Many of our laws were imposed from outside.
Absolutely, even the Constitution.
Whereas in most other societies, laws emerge, as part of common law.
Yeah.
Then it's codified and it moves up.
Yeah.
A lot of our laws, the laws, vagrancy. I mean, there's some interesting laws that
Indeed.
The only way they came about is because those with the power imposed those views on the rest of us that. And I'm full of
agreement. Subjects.
Many years ago, I did some work with Radio Central. Remember Radio Central?
I do.
And they started a concept of local news in local language. And it was one of the most interesting things because even Jamaicans who are not educated, quote unquote, you listen to the average Jamaican countryman and woman discuss international affairs. They have a profound understanding. They may not know the words and the phrases and the nuances, but we lack that in Jamaica. Culture, there's national culture, there's popular culture, there is scientific culture. In Jamaica, our national culture is out of step with the popular culture in many ends. So that the more you impose people from outside to come and tell us, here's how you should do it, here's what you should do, we continue the same problems that we have had before.
I want to ask you, Ronnie, to tell me something that is in Jamaica, that is Jamaican, didn't come from outside.
That did not.
Yes, something that. No. Tell me something at the upper level. Whether it's constitution, parliamentary, whatever,
but if
that did not come from outside.
I could do
the economy, the education.
Yes, sir. But my problem with you, Pearnel, is that you are complacent with that. I am not, because I feel that we're not isolationists. We don't believe we have direct wisdom from God in its plenitude. But we can be consulted, we can do, and in our 60th year of independence, to strike a constitutional committee, which is made up of people who only a few of them are directly connected with any popular movement or sense of the gestalt of the country. To put it as chairpersons of that committee, persons who have already expressed more than once, yes, their discomfort with the articles of personal freedom in the Charter of Rights. What are they? What do we expect to end up from that, Dr. Semaj? Mr.
Just
Clare?
before Dr. Semaj come in, let me correct you on a point.
Yeah, please.
I am not comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
I am not, and you know that I probably you can accuse me of giving up.
No,
but you can't accuse me of being comfortable.
All right. So we hear about a comfort situation now. Here's the uncomfortable situation for people like myself and those who are listening right now who also have vested interest in Jamaica, but may not necessarily live in Jamaica.
Yes.
Where are they in this?
Exactly. That's another big gap.
No. That is not to say that the fact that we're not physically there.
You're not looking to run it.
Doesn't
But you want to talk.
We want to talk because we have vested interest.
Yes, sir.
And I think there's significant benefit,
of course,
from that pool, because they also possess people with the intellect and the understanding. So we're not just saying that we should be there.
Yeah.
They have qualifications to be there.
Sure. Leachim, what's your thought?
I love where discussion has gone. As somebody who is between all of this back and forth, long ago I said, that when a Jamaican, quote unquote, from abroad has all the answers to the problems in Jamaica, I ask them to just pause until such time as the money they have in their pocket is Jamaican dollars earned in Jamaica. Your perspective is very different. When you come to Jamaica with US dollars and convert it and live good, versus when you have to earn your living in Jamaica. I do respect the Jamaicans in the diaspora, and I do believe they should have input and so on, but it's a different Jamaica based on the perspective. If you're looking at it from inside or from outside, the experience is very different.
Agreed.
And those who are outside are not going to be able to come in without carrying from outside what they have earned, what they have learned, and what they have lived.
I agree with that too, but then we're still talking about a different process. This notion, repeating 1962, where we have a group of people who are in fact, it was even broader then, making up their minds about how we should relate to each other and how we should govern. I'm wondering what is in the headspace of the people who are promoting that, Dr. Semaj?
No, it's a continuation of what has always happened in Jamaica so far, The national culture has to a large extent been created, much of it from outside. Let me give an example.
That's about
the post-slavery laws, many of them were structured to continue the oppressive nature of slavery.
Of course.
So, for example, if I was on a corner selling something, if I could not say which plantation owner, which slave master I was selling on behalf, I was automatically arrested.
Yes, sir.
It was illegal for a black Jamaican to be on the corner selling or doing any kind of business, unless you were doing it for
wandering abroad with no fixed place of abode. Vagrancy, go to jail.
All of those vagrancy and all of those laws came about right there. And our oral tradition has certain values and essence which we're really trying to get the voice of the people now up into the collective wisdom. Ronnie, where you see this most in court, when you see a Jamaican going to court, and he stands there, and I remember whether it's traffic court or whatever it is, totally ignorant of the procedurals and so on and things.
Can't understand what's going on.
And at the end of the day, he is punished just for his ignorance.
Yeah, man.
So that I do believe we have to find a way, and we have to listen to our people. If we seriously look, how we know when we know when we want to do it. The same thing happened with the COVID situation.
Right.
when Jamaican politicians want to communicate directly with the people, they know to go door to door, community to community. They don't have press releases and press conferences. You go to the communities and you speak to the people and you listen to the people.
Can I ask your support, please, all of you, on one aspect? We have this Constitutional Commission for what it is worth. Yes? At the very least, every meeting that they have, every document that they consider must be publicized. It must be available to the public. There can be no secrecy at all about dealing with something as fundamental to every single breathing individual in Jamaica as constitutional reform. Can you please support that?
Well, I will say first that it sounds good.
No.
Hold on. It sounds good, and I wish it could happen.
Why not?
Well,
what takes one word from one person? Yes, it ought to come from the committee members themselves. But the Prime Minister of this country, if he just said this is going to be an open process, everything in the open, yes, it would have to be so. Let him help me.
But it has to come to the open.
Let him start meet already, and we don't know what they're going to do.
Well, this
Ronnie,
is.
I have a process. I do a lot of work with companies in transforming the cultures of companies. And one of the technique I use, each person, we try to draw a broad section of persons from different departments and units and so on. And we say that your role on the committee is to represent this larger body.
Right.
And every meeting we attend,
Yes.
you must carry news back and forth. When you come to the meeting, you share the views of the people you work with. When you go back to them, you tell them what we discussed so that they can get input too, so that along the way, everybody is kept abreast.
All right.
At the end of it.
But gentlemen,
we have to take a break.
We have to take a break.
We'll soon come back. Vital discussion, only on the bridge. This is a public eye on the Bridge 99, the global connection with Irie Jam in New York. Talking morals, talking politics, talking constitutionalism with Dr. Leachim Semaj. Leachim, Pearnel has a word for you.
Leachim, I would be more comfortable if somebody had been a committee that represent farmers, some represent teachers, some represent the legal body, and they would report and come back. But to say publish it in the papers, they cannot go and read it. How are you going to get at the mass?
We want it there too. We want it there because that is a medium of record. I agree with you.
I am more comfortable with what.
We want both.
If we had people representing the private sector, the public sector,
What a life.
Gentlemen, I want to go back to a statement Dr. Leachim Semaj made when he spoke of Jamaicans not living in Jamaica and understanding what takes place there. And that's a valid point. But it doesn't eliminate their participation in this process. No. Yes, I know. But I'm clarifying because I got some text from some folks. The point here is that the same things that we're belly aching about right now, because we're saying the Prime Minister should have done that. But I don't see a lot of opposition coming out of Jamaica urging these type of changes. I don't know if the mass if the mass is as involved as they should be. Why aren't we hearing more coming out from our news media, from those on the ground who are activists about this whole situation? It seems to be business as usual.
Why
gentlemen.
do you think, Irwine Clare?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because I get the sense that the general population has not been.
That's exactly it. And who is beholden to whom in terms of the dissemination of material?
There you go.
Let's face it.
I know. So here comes the other part now, and that's why I believe that people listening to us right now all over the world have a place to play in this, in encouraging our brothers and sisters and using any means necessary to get some of these salient points that we have discussed here today, because it's very important that the folks at the bottom who largely will be the beneficiaries of whatever decision taken with our constitution here, or the victims, yes, must be actively at the table.
Let's hear from Dr. Semaj.
Irwine, I'm full agreement with you, many years, let's talk a few months ago, a local commentator made some position clearing that, listen, obviously the majority of Jamaicans must be in agreement with all the things happening because there is no mass demonstration. I say be careful. When people have the option for mass migration, they don't need mass demonstration. And many Jamaicans living here, if you see the trouble that Jamaicans go through to escape from Jamaica. Now, if we're considering our constitutional issues, one thing must be on the table is the present system working for all of us?
Correct.
When we can have the system of first past the post, and you don't have to talk to anybody else until the next election.
Thank you.
You can win the election with 20% of the electorate. And you don't have to. Many years ago, I remember after one of the victories by P.J. Patterson, and Mr. Patterson said that, listen, he's going to sit with Mr. Siaga to see if they can understand some of our differences and so on, so that he can create a point of view that will appeal to both sides and so on. At the time, I was working with Mr. Patterson's son on a project, and I said, tell your father that that's not the right approach. There is a 50% of Jamaicans who have written off both political parties and are not represented by either of the party. So that's a group of people. He really needs to figure out, what is it that you want? What is the Jamaica you want? What is it you want from Jamaica? What do you want to offer Jamaica? You need that conversation too. Now, as long as Jamaican political entities have mastered the science of politics, how to win elections, but the art of governance, we have not touched that one as yet. So we can win elections and we can get to the next one, but the majority of our people, winning election in Jamaica is very easy. One, first of all, identify the money people who will pay for the election. Every election in Jamaica is a by-election. Then the money people, you give 20 million here, but you give 50 million here. So either side, win and place. So whatever it is the outcome, you're good. But the large majority of the people, where are their views in this process?
Let me tell you this. That statement you make a while ago is not I don't know about it. I have run 4 and 3, 7 elections, and I never get that sort of money to buy anybody. I did not buy my election. I went to the people. Prime ministers. We don't vote sit down with them and drink soup. Eh?
Yeah.
No, well, you are saying, and Ronnie seem to agree with you, right? That some big man is carrying some big bag of money, come present before the party, and we get some. That is a lie, Ronnie. You know.
No, that certainly happens, but that doesn't indict you, nor I would claim me. But Leachim is right. The larger the choice is not for people in the given constituencies, and the parties generally would feel that Northern Clarendon and Central Kingston are safe. Whether or not that's true. No, but the role of money in elections and the fact that contributions are not disclosed. Yes, that to me is something, an immediate change that would have to be put on the agenda of things that we're doing if we're really overhauling our system.
Yeah, but you can't stop the cars from going out. You can't stop somebody from going to campaign.
No.
Is the influence of large portions of money?
But nobody can prove it.
No, really. Whoa.
Well, let's be very careful, Pearnel. When that person who have the receipts,
receipts and pictures.
Exactly what happened the day before election in terms of how all the taxmen were paid off and given money that look. Here's what we want you. So when you pay for all the taxes in a particular constituency, so that the probability of the other side having access to transportation to vote is 0. So again, I said the science of winning elections. We know the science.
And we can govern.
We have to go back around this thing.
What we need to say though is that this constitutional process has to take account for the changes that Dr. Semaj and Mr. Clare particularly are putting forward, that there evolution taking place, and we have it becomes a profoundly philosophical, moral, ethical consideration. One. Two, that those who are entrusted with it, the whole process needs to be reconsidered in my view, but since it's not likely, at least what they are considering has to be completely and thoroughly transparent. If we go no further than that, but insist that people abroad, people locally, everybody, anybody has the right to insist upon that, I think we will have done some service.
Let them know you read that a while ago, written by me and you.
Gentlemen,
I'm happy for the co-authorship. Yes,
So
Mr.
Ronnie,
Clare.
the fact that we know we use
I agree with you on that. I agree with
the
you on that.
capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can use Zoom, we can use YouTube,
Yeah.
with live streaming.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We can live stream the activities, so
Absolutely.
persons can watch, people can listen, people
Yeah.
can make comments.
Yes.
It can be done.
Yes.
Indeed. Well, gentlemen, I know it can be done. I agree with you. But what I know has to be done is that I have to leave you guys here. And it just demonstrates the seriousness of this conversation and that more needs to take place. And we
Aye.
have to find ways to include those
Yeah.
who have been left out. Thank you very much. Until next week.
For which we thank Dr. Semaj as well as you, Irwine Clare. All the best to you both, and thanks for joining us on the Bridge 99 FM. So, Mr. Charles,
Yes.
some very strong views being expressed right here, you know. Some very free views.
What is strong, and I would agree with you on this, you cannot be writing a constitution for people who don't know nothing about it,
Well, got
or
you.
who don't know what they're going to get out of
Yeah.
it. So there must be a way to interpret what the people need
Yeah.
and advise them how we're going to get it to them,
Yeah.
or what is there that's going to guide them.
Yeah.
Because if we put it out there, they're going to break it.
Well,
They're not going to support it.
as they're not supporting the political culture now, most of them,
Right.
and as they're looking for the kind of escape that Leachim Semaj spoke of. These are
That's why you have 40% of the population voting.
I'm afraid it's
and
not
if you
even
look
40.
back, it's only the time when we had a problem that 80% of the people came out and vote.
But this demeans our democracy. If you're interested in an autocratic situation where no matter who votes or how many, provided you win, provided you can control the security
50%
forces,
plus one.
and you can control the $1 trillion budget. Yes, if that is all that you're after, well, then you don't want any change. You just want to manipulate that.
But when
We
you
are
don't-
saying that there's a different future, there's a different prospect for the people, and we have to demand it. And what the Constitutional Reform Committee has put into place is highly dubious. They've done us a disservice so far. We have to try and rescue it.
Well, you get me to agree that we have to communicate to the people who we are
Absolutely.
working
Yes, sir.
for,
You're
so
wise.
that when we
You are
finish the
wise.
job, there'll be a part to it.
Yes.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
How you're going to do it is
Yeah.
something that you need to teach me or tell me how to get to the barbers, the farmers,
Talk to
the
them.
higglers,
Talk to them.
the schools,
Yeah.
the universities.
Easy. We
And
know-
it's something you're doing on their behalf.
Indeed. Much more on that when the public eye resumes, and this will be a constant theme. We're on the bridge. We talk it straight here. Soon come. Thanks for being with us on the Bridge 99 FM. This is the Public Eye. The Honorable Pearnel Charles is the co-host. We're going to talk Jamaican matters for a while. Then we take some phone calls later on. Looking forward to that. I'm concerned, you see, sir, that regarding the state of the economy and the expectations of the people. Here's the situation. The IMF has confirmed what we have been saying, but not too loudly, that our economy, while some measure of recovery has taken place, and we're grateful for that, it's better to have it than not to have it. Our economy is not going to take off for now.
Where is it going to take off?
I don't believe it can take off in its present form.
Yeah, but an economy is not just a country business.
No,
you
it's
know.
a people's.
It's not just the
Activity
people of
of the
one
people.
country.
Mhm.
It's larger. In other words, if America dead, We are undying.
Yeah, but what are you saying? What does that lead you to say, that the people who are in hard times now in Jamaica, most everybody except the top couple of percent, that they must just understand that it can't get no better?
No, I'm not trying to say that.
So what are you saying?
I am saying that the hardship that they are and that they're not enjoying are feeling now, enduring. Yeah. It's not just a Jamaica.
No. So, but then
and in fact, if you listen to those who are in charge, they'll say it could be worse.
But that's no comfort.
And we are doing better than others.
So, but look here,
not good enough for us.
When you feel in pain, and the doctor come and tell you, it could be worse, or other people are feeling the same pain, what do you do with him?
Change him.
You run him. Yes? So no, that is no argument. I'm surprised at the Minister of Finance coming with that, comparing my problem with somebody else's and telling me that I'm not so bad. That is no argument.
No, but Mr. Rani, you cannot want a system to change. You have to. The system that we have today require him to hail himself, because he's doing well. If you measure it,
he's doing well with the financial sector.
Exactly.
Yes. So if that is his constituency, then that's fine. But that's not that can't be right. That's not.
You want it rather than that. You want the schools.
I want everything because we're capable of that. No, I understand that the system can't be changed overnight. But show me that we are in fact along the road. You don't have to show me.
Well, let me shoot you with one.
Please.
I went down to Coronation Market.
Right.
And cabbage, $300 a pound.
So how people can manage, sir?
Hold on. Melon, $200 a pound.
Yeah, you can do it.
No, hold on.
All right.
There's a reason for that.
More things.
There's a reason for that. The man said to me, boss, this is all left out because we don't have no water. Sunburn too. That's all left. And so we have to buy back a little thing. Right? But so, in other words, Randy, it's a broader thing.
It is a broader thing, but don't stop there, because if the question arises, we have to come to grips and acknowledge, if we had been irrigating 100 acres or hectares better of South St. Elizabeth or Northwest St. Anne every year, affordable, yes, rather than wasting the money on other things, we would have the antidote, at least partially, to the drought. Okay? Even if the Minister of Agriculture now had the adequate resources and the adequate support of the farmers to really concentrate on food sufficiency, my goodness, we could be doing so much better. Instead of which, we are seeing our salvation in scraping off the topsoil and leaving it on the side.
You mean mining?
Yeah, that clearly. No, I'm expressing something in extreme terms, sir. But we want to see that. When I looked at the economic statistics in the Gleaner today, yes, I see where our balance of trade deficit is higher than ever before. Last year, our imports increased by some 30-odd%, but our exports, which are already a quarter or a fifth of our imports, are barely increasing, less than 20-something%.
But when I listen to you and others, speak like you,
yes, sir,
you give me the impression you don't remember where we're coming from a year ago.
I remember very well, but
and that how many million have died?
Yeah.
How much economy has crashed?
Yes, sir. And I ask myself, yes, what have we done? What are we doing about it? And I come back to some very basic things. Tell me if I'm being superficial. But if we had concentrated on producing more of our own cabbage and more of our own melon, yes, then we would have better withstood some of the peril that we suffered 2 years ago.
A man is calling.
Yes,
he
sir.
said that we did it in St. Elizabeth, and we had to throw in nearly 2/3 of the melon because of one problem.
Storage?
No, not storage.
What?
When they break the melon, they discover fish had a problem.
So fine.
But pumpkin,
whatever other things. The problems are going to be.
Just before you proceed, I heard your friend, Minister of Agriculture, saying to the owners of large storehouses.
Yes, sir.
Come and buy from
Of
the
course.
farmers out
Correct
there
move.
and keep it
Yeah.
until rough time,
Yes, sir.
rather than import it.
Yes.
I think he's speaking like you.
Well, and I support that entirely.
Right?
I'm pleased with that.
What if those large storehouses would say to somebody in St. Elizabeth, listen man, all the pumpkins and melon that you can produce, I'm going to buy it. I tell you what, I'm going to give you some money up front.
Yes, what?
I'm going to give you some money up front. And when the melon is ready, I'm going to withdraw about that.
Yeah.
In other words, wouldn't it be a good thing?
Indeed it would, but why are we not doing that?
No, I'll tell you better than that. I'm ashamed to tell you this, but I have to tell you make everybody hear. The cabbage that I saw is imported.
Look at that. Oh my. Oh, yeah.
Are we importing cabbage?
Yes. Yes. Well, we import banana chips.
Well, Ronnie, the truth is this.
So
See, I hear this man saying, but Mr. Charles, we don't have it.
So where we
And
don't,
we can't get it now. We have to prepare to get it
right.
next
So
time.
tell me 3 months time, so 6 months time, we're going to do it. I always tell you of the story. Let's tell our listeners again. I remember when I served as Minister of Education, one of my important objectives was to create a school feeding program for everybody that would be, one, nutritious rather than cause bad habits in food, and secondly would be local for the most part. And I went to my dear friend at the time, colleague, now departed, Harold Roger Clifford Clark, yes, and said to him, how can we make a plan to provide enough raw material so that nutrition products can rely less on importing concentrates from Vietnam and Indonesia and all those places, and use Jamaican products. I went to Jamaica, the chicken producers, to the banana processors, all of them. And you know what I got? Blank.
You know, Ronnie, I have to congratulate you. You've been a naturalist for a long time. And I just spoke about nutrition product. Let me hail Dr. Mavis Gilmore. She is now 92.
God bless her.
And I went to her in the 1980s when I had a school in St. Thomas with all the black young boys have brown hair.
Look at that.
And I said, what the hell is happening here? I went to Dr. Gilmore, said, oh, you're a doctor and you're a Minister of Education. Well, what is happening? All my boys have blonde hair. And she said, oh, take it easy. And she go down to the food product, and it was milk and whatever it is. In a few months running,
change.
All of my black young boys had black hair.
So thank you, sir. So you had the answer to the question. Why is it, I ask, that in this the 62nd year of our independence, yes, that we cannot afford to give our school children milk?
Well,
oh God in heaven, man. But we can afford to do all kinds of different things. We can afford to waste billions of dollars. Yes, we can afford to have a permanent secretary sitting down at a desk with not even a computer in front of him and paying him full tariff for 2 years. Yes? No, and priorities are key. And when people abroad or people locally, yes, and believe me, I'm not making a partisan point now, because I know the structures and the systems well enough now to understand how frighteningly impregnable they are for even the most activist minister. You can do something, but you can't do much. Can we change it now?
But you keep saying, can we change it? And you've been there, Ronnie. What change could you and I bring when we were there that we didn't?
Well,
you brought more than 100 resolutions to Parliament.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even hear them. So
I didn't have space to hear some of them.
No, because
I was told that you were to listen to some.
The government never wanted to hear anything like that. They wanted to do what they please. And that is the truth. And therefore, when I hear some of the candidates on both sides, yes, and some of the sitting MPs, if I tell you the truth, are saying, boy, we have to reconsider ourselves. And when some of them end up becoming unduly selfish because they don't see the possibility. All of those backbenchers that were elected for the Jamaica Labour Party in the last election, what contribution are they making to systemic change in this country?
Say something about it.
Yeah.
All of them, most of them are professionals.
Yeah.
And what is their salary?
A fraction of what you paid to that permanent secretary to sit down and do nothing for 2 years.
Hold on. That a driver to one of the member of parliament said to me he has to make himself available for any time they press the button, night, day, or morning. Yeah. He gets $15,000 a week. Yeah. That is minimum, $1,000 above the minimum wage.
So we are bright people, you know, sir.
We have problem.
We can do things better for ourselves. Yes, and therefore it becomes a really moral question. Why is it? Are we committed to setting up a system, to working out all of our decisions, which lift up the common good? Or are we saying, look, master, it's somebody else's responsibility to see how it goes, you know, or lift yourself by your own bootstraps when you don't have no shoes?
I tell you, but I've heard that before.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but not original.
But let me tell you one of the big problems that faces me right now. Schools. Who is responsible for the young children coming up? Parents or teachers?
Both.
Both? Mm-hmm. Who have the greatest influence on them?
It should be the parents, but at the earliest stages. But in our situation where parents are ill-equipped and sometimes absent, it ends up with the teachers. And I urge you to read, and our listeners, read a letter by 2 teachers in the Gleaner today, where they are pointing out that which the government and most of us are ignoring, which is the huge deficit in mental health and in academic performance that has been caused by COVID. And while some are making an effort to recover, as a nation, we have not fully appreciated what we need to do in order to make up 2 years of lost school. We are still dealing with the illusion that things weren't so right, but they were more or less okay.
Not only lost schools, but what effect it has had on the children.
Precisely, sir.
The medical effect.
So
they go back to school to teach it.
Yeah. That's what the letter is saying.
And they have reduce themselves from and they are unable to lift themselves up.
So therefore I ask, when you think of the long-term consequences of that, I ask you, look at the education budget this year and you don't see anything commensurate to deal with that problem. So what are we doing? We're putting the money into providing free tuition for heart, yes, at the higher levels. No, that's very good. Very, very good. But what you're doing is you're building on shifting sands.
No, what it said that you have to find money to bring up the bottom.
Well,
you cannot. In other words, you can have a country that don't have technicians.
No, but that's not the point.
You can have a country.
The problem wasn't fees at that level. The problem there is literacy. That if you don't deal with the bottom, sir, as we have been dealing with the bottom,
I agree with
when they get to the heart level and 100% the sixth form level, they can't read and write.
And I see Aston Barnes calling me from Mandeville to tell me the same thing. The point is this.
Mr. Barnes.
The point is this, that if something is not done to the education system, we have a problem because it doesn't matter what you do. But let me switch quickly to a point that was avoided earlier.
Okay.
When Leachim was here talking about migration. You know that some of the people who are migrating are the better of what we have.
Yes.
So if the best of what we have are migrating, what is left?
People who are not as well accomplished.
And what? How do we expect them to make Jamaica a better place?
That is the problem. But we're not to be overtaken and made depressed by the problem. A person came to me recently, a young woman. Yes, she had a child in her early years, late teenage. Okay, she's trying her best to get a degree and accomplish herself now. The little child needs help in education, and the father has left the country and gone and set up a family abroad.
Yes.
Okay? Look here. Not only can that woman, she's heroic in what she's trying to do, but she's under grave pressure because she's a single parent. She's trying to accomplish work and study and child rearing, difficult child rearing, all at the same time. God bless her. But why is she structurally handicapped in that way? One. And two, how on earth do we continue to export the people? How many of those people lining up in the Canadian and American embassies are leaving children behind?
Yeah, but why you say export? Listen, you're not exporting me, you are voluntarily pushing them away. I mean, that I made that point earlier.
You're right.
That many of those who are lining up there, they're the better part of the educational system.
Yeah.
Not only teachers and lawyers and doctors, but those who our taxpayer money has created an education for.
So why
they are heading towards because they can get a better salary.
Sir, what are we saying to them? What are we saying to them? What are we, the leaders,
what we're
saying to them?
Take me as an example.
Yes, sir.
You take me as an example, born in Macedonia, 1936, right? And for the first 12 years, we never have a pair of shoes.
Whoa.
Right? One pair of shoes to 4 hours to go to church, and when if 1 foot too big, mama full up the front with newspaper. So since you go and say recitation, you have to wear the shoes. And if woman said to you, if rain fall, make sure you tie the 2-strap, put it around your neck, because your foot can't well, but the shoes can't fix up. And guess what the shoes are? Butter. But there was a boy who didn't come to school. Because his mother was able to, she was selling oil and she can buy a shoe.
8 shilling cost, butter shoes used to cost.
Anybody who faint to a school, everything happen. They say, where Derek? They find Derek.
And if his shoes, make him swell up.
Because anyhow you take off Derek leather shoes and put her in nose, didn't get up, stand up.
Because ammonia. All right, so I understand. See where you come from. We take a break on the public eye. Thanks for being with us on the Bridge 99. This is the Public Eye. Pearnel, Charles, and myself for hosting the program. We have a caller. Hello, how are you? Hello, caller. You're going to connect the caller for me?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
How are you? Welcome.
Oh, I am good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to me.
It's our pleasure.
I tried to call last week. Yes. I tried to call last week because you were discussing a topic that was, as you would say, makes me bringle.
Spell bringle. No, don't bother. Just tell me.
I actually looked it up.
It's a lovely word.
Yeah, it is. It's the whole issue with the bauxite. The bauxite, the way they are, encroaching on the little bit of green that's left, and the way it's decimating the local economy for the people who live in the area. And, it's a real sore point for me and my family. I am from not too far from where the chief is from, in St. Anne. And we grew up in that area watching land being leased each season to different families, and they were able to plant crops and feed the children and send them to school. And the bauxite has gone in, and they have, I just consider it a rape of the land. They leave bleeding sinkholes, and nothing is backfilled. And they keep going back and doing the same thing. And now they're encroaching on our land that we resisted selling to them for a long time. And, as you know, land has been handed down in Jamaica without title from generation to generation. Yeah. So you try to get a title, and it takes a long time. It was more than 20 years ago that we paid a lawyer to get title for this particular piece of land, and it hasn't come through yet. And now they're trying to dig the land and saying, prove that it's ours.
Oh, Lord.
And then what happens is, we try to keep this land green because we're like the economy for the local people. We build tanks. They're able to get water from our tanks. They're able to farm our land, put their animals on the land, and we allow it because this is the way that they can make a living. And now, when they go and they cut down all these trees, the place is more parched than ever. We're not going to have much rainfall. Our drought is going to be exacerbated, and people can't eat. And I don't understand why the government is so short-sighted. Why can't they revisit whatever agreement they had and see what can be done? Because they're just hoodwinking these people who are selling out to them. They pay them a piece of money. The money is finished. They resettle them on some piece of marl, a few towns away. People feel like they're moving up in life. And suddenly the money's done. And they have no means of planting a crop, living off the land. Whatever little bit of money that they thought they would invest, they buy a vehicle, they run a taxi. The engine breaks down, they need tire, they need gas, there's not enough fares, they abandon the cars, and they're walking around with nothing to do. And I think that the government abdicated its responsibility and continues to do so as it encroaches further and further on the little bit of green that we have left. And I think it's an abomination, and I'm bringling.
You're bringling. Now, I'm going to ask the Honorable Pearnel Childs to be the first to respond to you. You need to respond, because you understand that situation that this person is speaking of. She's your neighbor.
Well, I tell you something. It is heartburning to answer her, to speak to her, because like that lady,
yeah,
when bauxite came, a lot of us didn't understand. We were, some of us had a quarter acre of land with probably a half acre of level land and a hill. Mm-hmm. And we're told you're going to get 5 acres of good land at Trelawney. We weren't intelligent enough to talk about culture, environment. Nobody led us into
community.
That path. You understand? We want to hear that bauxite go and dig up us, so you're going to get a nice place. And they even help you build a house.
You got it?
Some people get, right? But all your generations that came long before you in the tombs, where the tombs are.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, this caller didn't say it, but plenty times on the same land, family land.
Yeah.
That's where you bury your people.
They all were buried there. They didn't even find the skulls. They said they took up tombs, they took up little dirt. Right? People have been there for years. I mean, get back.
So you Bringle too?
Huh?
You Bringle too?
I do what?
Bringle. Caller says you Bringle.
Well,
I want you to Bringle too, and I want to know why you still defend that situation, which she's telling you about, and which you know very well, sir.
Yes, and I come back to what I said earlier, that all countries has to earn money to take care of public servants, teachers, doctors.
So that you have to do.
Hold. It does not mean that you have to destroy your country to do that. At that stage, I didn't have that feeling until I see them take away my grandmother's land and Kara come to Kingston and the Supreme Court tell her to come off the land.
That really happened to you? To your grandmother?
But I told you.
But
I
Danny,
told you that the Constitution,
yeah,
the
compulsory acquisition,
exactly, and then give her land, and then she didn't know.
So why
she
you
lie down in the place, and they take her up and throw and tractor over the place.
So why you and why you don't take the same position that this caller puts forward? This thing have to stop now. It's not what has been done to both of you and your families and your heritage. It not worked.
Let me not embarrass you and tell you that you heard me 5 years in Parliament.
I did.
Crying.
Yes.
And being laughed at.
Yes.
When I said that if you fall down on one edge of the hole and roll to the bottom, there's no way you can have life. No cow that rolled on the can have life.
What you say, caller?
And I tell you about the breadfruit tree.
Yes.
And I tell you about this thing that Carol comes to the building house to plant thing that only lasts 3 months.
So caller, what do you think we ought to do now?
You know, I always admire leaders who assess the condition on the ground and adjust their approach based on the conditions on the ground. And though there might be some contract that originated from the 1940s or wherever, it seems to me that it is a lack of leadership. It deep six a whole section of the country. A section of the country that could be producing local foods that could help to serve the other part of the country that's so valuable that they need the resources to support them. We've had farmlands that have been plowed. We've had acres of land, neighbors with Ortonique oranges. You can't tell that they were there anymore. Acres with banana trees and breadfruit trees and fruit trees, all sorts of fruit trees. You cannot tell that those things were there anymore. And then we talk about the cost of food in the city.
Yeah.
Because people they can't farm.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and they eat all the imported chemical-filled food.
And get sick.
And then they get sick and the medical costs run up and they can't afford them. I mean, they can't get medical treatment. And then they talk about how do we fix that. It's just very short-sighted. Why can't these agreements be revisited and look at the thing from a practical perspective? They're moving up into places like Percapole. That's a place that was green and verdant. How can they do that? What is it going to do to the water, to the whole? When I was in primary school, we learned about how water evaporated and the trees help the evaporation and water comes back as condensation and we get rain. We're not going to have any of that. That whole water cycle is going to be gone because we won't have enough green. So we're going to have more people who are drought-ridden, can't plant food. It's okay for them to starve.
Well, I want to
let me disturb and add one to it. And Randy will remember. Right now in St. Ann, I understand that just after years of pushing back the topsoil, in Clarendon, the hills are still there with topsoil. And guess what? I was told then that they were going to mine out the bauxite, put back the topsoil, and within a year or two, trees would have been there, farmers have gone back. And what she's saying, some of those holes that they go for that before I leave here, 30 years ago, the holes are still there, and rain comes, put little mud down it, but nothing.
Well,
So,
I want to
truth
state,
is
want to indicate to our listeners another difficulty, put it to our call on yourself, because you've both spoken about the economic decimation and the environmental decimation, which is part of it. But I'd like to add the social and familial decimation, because the lands that have been mined for bauxite, by and large, were the lands on which crown lands that people settled on after slavery and built a peasant society, which had all the characteristics that the caller is remembering, that they were shared practices, cultivation, social order, people cohered around church, around school, around communities. And once you interfere with the land and do what you've both agreed, and we all know has happened to it, you break up those communities.
No, but hold on, Randy. The churches were destroyed. The schools were destroyed.
So
say that in other words, I know Lime Tree Garden School was knocked back down and put somewhere else in a hill.
So let me ask you.
I've got to answer the church there, but there's nobody else there, but they're gone.
Well, so but then where have they gone to? They've come to the ghettos in Kingston and Montego Bay.
No.
So they've migrated.
They put some in Trelawney.
Okay.
Some in money.
So it'll take another century.
Strangers to one another.
To build up community. Okay. Now, so please understand that much of the social unrest, much of the unease that our people experience, and which works itself out in so many negative consequences, is connected with what we have done with these lands, and we must not continue to do it. And I need your support to say to the government has the onus. Look here, on any cost-benefit analysis, this is not helping us. We've got to stop it now.
Ronnie,
No more.
7 years ago, I was in Parliament, and I said, the Jamal Core, whatever the name, the hills are still there of topsoil.
Yes, sir, and they're still there now.
And they have not gone.
So-
They told us.
So why don't you join us in support?
Hold on. I fought to get them out there. When they get out there and start to push, they say people say they want money because dust is coming out of them house. They be just rubbish. They just leave the topsoil in bungalows, leave the holes uncovered, and the stones there that, oh man.
Caller, I think you've made a strong point. I wish we had a more formal conclusion to it. Will you join me? Bauxite mining has to stop now.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and we have to reforest and we have to reconfigure as best we can the damage that has been done there, and it will take us generations to rebuild the communities and the industry and the social relations, but that must be what we do from now on. And the, what is it, $200 million US?
Caller, as Ronnie is saying, I took a different stand on it. I feel that a lot of the damage that has been done can still be corrected. Still be corrected because the land is still there.
Not one penny in the budget this year is towards any of this.
No. But I tell you what, the contract is still here, which says if the bauxite company did not do it, the government of Jamaica gets X amount of money to do it, and they haven't done it.
No, but that's the contract
Either
has,
they haven't got
has
the money,
no force.
or they don't do it.
No force. Thank you so much for your input, caller.
Thank you.
All the best. Good. So let's take a break on the public eye. When we come back, we're talking some serious things today, you know. Things that we can change, things that we must change. Come, don't let us set our teeth on edge. Come, we combine to do it right this time, no? So come. Thanks very much for being with us on the public eye. This is a Bridge 99. Pearnel, Charles and myself talking the affairs of the nation after some very important discussions today. Let me ask you something that you would know about, though, just shifting the subject. There's been a controversy in our nation this week about the responsibility for roads. I'm referring particularly to that issue in Hanover. You would have seen it, where the bridge dropped down.
Yes, and they were so nice this morning in the press. You saw it?
I saw it, but it don't take me anywhere because they said nobody has any money yet. They can have all the plans.
No. They called the Prime Minister and said, Mr. Prime Minister, they didn't demonstrate. They said it without demonstrating, but please come. So we have to wait on the Prime Minister.
No, well, I wonder how. The point I'm asking is, who is why do we have this divided responsibility? You were Minister of Local Government.
Yeah.
Yes. How do we have this divided? Some roads, how you know which road is a parish council road and which road is a NWA road, and why have this divided responsibility when the care, maintenance, reconstruction of the roads coming out to the same one pot?
I don't know. It's a long time thing that country roads, highway belong to a certain ministry. Country road,
town roads too, sir.
Town road go to the same ministry.
Yeah, main roads versus side roads.
Side roads go to the ministry of local government. And
stop all of that.
No, but hold on a minute now. I was outstretching on the pretty road, you know.
Yes.
Because guess what I did? I discovered that you guys were paying X amount of money for machine block stone in Kingston.
Yeah.
And if you were paying $20, you're only paying $5 out of country. I said, well, no, that can't work.
No.
So guess what?
Yeah.
All the women in country, we're going to give them a hammer, and we're going to block stone and build our road.
Yeah.
You heard this? You heard the story?
Yeah.
The amount of stone started to block around Jamaica.
Good.
Right?
Good.
And your friend, Michael, and Portia went out to country and see the woman them on the big stone, you know.
Stone.
And man, the same one want to look up and see and then demonstrate. Shaga called me and said, I don't want these people calling my government Brookstone government, so stop it. Granny, let me tell you something.
No.
Hundreds of women were making money for the first time.
Of course, controlling
and
their
they
fertility.
were fixing their own road.
Absolutely.
So the big man push out the stone,
Yeah.
the ladies break it,
Yeah.
and me
Yeah.
get a little Christmas money if they push it out on the road.
Yes, sir.
And the man from Brownstone, who was the head man at Public Works,
Yeah.
send a tractor come roll it in. We don't have no asphalt.
No.
But
it's stable.
We have Brookstone.
Sure.
No rain wash with that.
Exactly, sir.
No to that.
So let me.
And
so
hold
why
on.
we push that back?
Hold on. When I went to see Michael Mann, and this is why I like Michael Mann, and I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Yeah.
I said, Michael, why did you... No, he said to me, Pearnel, how the hell did you put people to Brookstone? I said, Mike, listen to me carefully. That's how I ate my Christmas. That's how all the boys in my district get a Christmas. So what do you mean? We push out the stone, the woman then broke it, and the Public Works man give us money to put it on the road. You know, when I done telling, you know what he said to me?
Yeah.
Pearnel, I have never had that experience. If I knew that was a national
you would have
country
supported.
thing, I would never have done it.
Well, look at that.
But hold on now, right up in the hills of St. Thomas, people were breaking stone and trucks go up to the bed.
Look at that.
And what? They cut it out and give back the big machine man then.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
to Brookstone, and our people can Brookstone again.
Well, you see.
So the parish council road
Right.
wash away because
it doesn't have any underlay of stone.
No.
So I'm asking you again, though, isn't it time for a national road authority?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Because when I'm in Hanover and the bridge broke down, the bridge hasn't been maintained because National Works Agency say enough for them, the parish council say enough for we. Yes, so the bridge eventually broke down, and the people now have to it's something which is as routine as keeping public infrastructure in good order. Yes, so that car and school pitney and tourists can pass. Same with the Troy Bridge in between Trelawney and Manchester, and about 200 more bridges around Jamaica.
I'm not going to.
They have to appeal to the Prime Minister to get it fixed. What is that?
I'm going to say this to you.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I think parish council is missing on.
Yeah.
I'm a parish councillor.
Yeah.
And I am in a division.
Yeah.
Where I have no authority even to fix a road.
Yeah. So what?
Or to get the bridge clean.
So what me good for?
What is the use of a parish council?
Exactly, sir. So that's a question I'm asking you. So
and if he gets 20 million, it cannot fix one road.
Yes, sir.
Like when you give the MPs now 20 million, it can't fix a road.
Right.
How much money to need to fix a bridge?
Well, much more than that. So when we're faced now,
the MP cannot fix a bridge because they don't have no money.
Precisely. So why we do that to ourselves?
Well, somebody called and said, Mr. Charles.
It is a recipe for political disaster.
I just call and say, Mr. Charles, tell Mr. Thwaites, that's why I need to sell the bauxite to get money.
No, it's why we need to have proper authority and proper understanding of priorities. And it doesn't, we can do other things to replace the bauxite earnings. We can save the money from the waste that goes on with many contracts and in much of government service. And if we have to do without in some respects, order to be able to get... I
like when you talk, But give me some examples.
Examples of what?
Give me some example of some of the waste that you think we could do those.
Well, let me tell you.
Yes.
When I served in the Ministry of Education
Yes.
and had a look at what we spend money on in education,
Yes.
I came to the informed conclusion. Yes, it's my conclusion. Yes, that we could better spend at least 25%, if not a third of that budget. And that when you don't do that, what you do is waste. If I could tell you the amount of billions of dollars that we pay, yes, to keep people out of school.
I don't follow you.
Yeah,
what do you mean by keep people out of school?
By totally uneconomical leave arrangements,
Oh, you mean the teachers?
Oh man!
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
there are so many ways. If I could itemize them from you, from the purchase of books and supplies, to indeed the issue of school feeding, to the issue of just ineffective mechanisms of accounting and so on. We need to concentrate upon doing better with what we have, rather than despoiling our environment and our people by doing things like what the caller was telling us about.
Let me show that you as a former Minister of Education.
Yes.
Men
Yes.
are literally be taken out of the schools.
Yeah.
Take them set out of the schools.
Yeah.
Right? Would it be a way forward if we decide that education is one of the first things that we need to start with?
Yeah, my view is that instead of spending all the money that people have on a carnival mentality, which is what Jamaica seems to be promoting, and I realize how controversial that is, the priorities of life, yes, are health, our education, and food. Well, that's part of health. Yes?
Well,
come, let's just get things straight.
Well,
we gotta go.
I'll back you, and once we educate
Yes.
man,
Yes.
you can't let him go.
Well, there you are. We're not doing that right now. Thanks so much for your company on the Public Eye today, Mr. Charles, and to all of our listeners. Thanks to LaFane Wigan, technical operators JB, Kevin, and Sean, and the entire production team here at the Bridge 99 FM. We don't try to be controversial. We call it as we see it. And that's what we can do on the Bridge, welcoming and greeting of the diaspora here and abroad. Take care till next Wednesday. What a pleasure. Thanks so much for your company.